Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by PSEG Foundation, Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Johnson & Johnson, NJM Insurance Group, serving New Jersey's drivers, homeowners, and business owners for more than 100 years. The North Ward Center, the New Jersey Education Association, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and by Valley Bank. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, keeping communities informed and connected. And by ROINJ, informing and connecting businesses in New Jersey.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The way we change presidents in this country is by voting.
A quartet is already a John. It's just the new John.
January 6th was not some sort of violent, crazy outlier.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
I mean, what other country sends comedians over to embedded military to make them feel better?
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
It's not all about memorizing and getting information. It's what you do with that information.
Start talking right now.
Such a good question. High five.
I think the Russ Berrie Award has been a pillar in the community, recognizing the work that's being done by community members.
Our commitment to serve the community is now deeper.
This award, this honor, allowed that spotlight not just to amplify me, but much more importantly, amplify all the folks that are around me.
Whatever fight it is, whether it's LGBTQ rights, immigrant rights, racial injustice, we are going to win that fight because we're going to win together.
Individuals realizing how important this work is, but also lifting it up because of being a recipient of the Russ Berrie Award.
It was a validation of our more than 3 decades of work.
It was transformational. Suddenly we're on people's radar because we won this award.
It was just an honor to be recognized, and it was so heartening to be with others in the community that are doing great work.
Being recognized by Russ Berrie, an organization, a foundation that recognizes so many incredible people in the state of New Jersey because of an incredible person like Russ Berrie himself, was an honor.
Hi everyone, Steve Adubato. Welcome to a very special program that recognizes 30 years of the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards, and we're honored to be joined by our longtime colleague and friend, Dr. Aidana Goldberg, CEO of the Russell Berrie Foundation, to mark this extraordinary milestone, 30 years of the Making a Difference Awards. First, it's always great having you with us. Thank you, Aidana.
Always great to be with you.
Explain to folks in 1997, when the great Russ Berrie, the late great Russ Berrie, and the team at the foundation started the Making a Difference Awards. Why was it started, and why is it so important?
Sure. Russ believed in people and in people's ability to make a difference. And he thought that recognizing individuals who might be connected to organizations or individuals who are just doing great things across the state of New Jersey would rise them up. And he believed that we should support them. We support them with cash prizes. And it's a way to lift up and celebrate and hopefully inspire others to make a difference.
Russ passed in 2002, but his legacy lives on in these awards and in these people. The approach to philanthropy at the Russell Berrie Foundation is unique and impactful. Talk about that, Dr. Goldberg.
Sure. So we really look for innovative ideas, entrepreneurs, leaders that we can invest in and help them make their dreams come true to make a difference in society. And Russ drove that with his approach to the Making a Difference Awards, identifying people, investing in them, and letting them do their good work. And I think what's really important about these awards also is that we actually have never chosen the winners. The winners are nominated by grassroots
That's right.
across the state of New Jersey. And those nominations go to an advisory committee made up of nonprofit leaders from across the state, who then evaluate those leaders across criteria of leadership and impact. And they are the ones who choose those leaders. And so together with Ramapo College for the last 30 years, who have managed this process, we have essentially given over to the community the ability to identify and find the heroes that they know so they can sing their praises.
30 years of recognizing people who are making a difference. Here's just some of them. One of the first people recognized by Russ Berrie in 1997 was Father Edwin Leahy, who helped reopen St. Benedict's Prep in Newark and restore it as a beacon of excellence, discipline, and opportunity for generations of young people. Nearly 30 years later, I asked Father Ed to reflect on that first year and what the award meant to him. Let's take a look. You've been recognized many times, Father Ed, but what did that award mean to you then, and why is it so important to, as the foundation says, make a difference?
Well, I mean, it was, first of all, Russ Berrie was one of the most unassuming people that I've ever met in my life, I think. He was interested in making a difference, trying to highlight those places that, in his opinion, and the opinion of whoever worked with him, was making some kind of a difference. So any of those recognitions that happened way back then were ways of kind of turning attention to what these kids here in Newark were doing positively, right? So I think he was a huge help to us back then.
From the beginning, the Making a Difference Award depended upon the wisdom and care of a dedicated advisory board. Their role was to look closely at the nominations and identify people whose work reflected the deepest spirit of the award. The selections reflected the rich diversity of New Jersey, honoring people of all ages, backgrounds, and communities across the state.
The power of voice and advocacy has been deeply moving for me, and it has certainly, reading these applications, getting to know these people and their work has definitely impacted the way I think about my work in the nonprofit community. Am I shouting loud enough on behalf of the people that I serve, and how might we do that better? And then I think the other thing is so many of the awardees were folks that, because of their work, policy or systems or structures changed. And that was very, very powerful to me, that you saw real change happen, not just for the people that they served, but for other people in that category. And that was very powerful, that it's not enough to address the symptoms, right, of people's circumstances, but how do we actually change policy in a way that addresses a problem in a way so that these symptoms don't keep happening.
For many honorees, the award came at a moment when they were giving everything they had to help others. The recognition did more than simply celebrate them. It reminded them that their work really mattered.
I was in a chemo chair just 2 years before, and then even before that. But they didn't think that I was going to survive. I had stage 4 cancer. So to make it out of that situation and to be running a nonprofit that I started from my chemo chair, and then to be recognized for starting a nonprofit in my chemo chair and not having died was really kind of miraculous. And to meet the other New Jersey participants who were doing such incredible things. We were like young, unsung heroes. We weren't, in Washington getting like a light award. We were just people on the ground, volunteering and just trying to beg for dollars so that we could do things that would meet the need of our fellow people in New Jersey. And it was amazing.
Nason's place is inspired by my own son, Nason, on the autism spectrum, who was diagnosed back in 2006. When we got the diagnosis, it was life-changing, but I also went on a search to find programs and services that will help me better understand or to help give me some types of assistance. I am born and raised in the great city of Newark and now currently live in the great city of East Orange. And when I couldn't find programs and services, I kept asking, why aren't there no services here for children on the autism spectrum in urban inner cities? And the question came back, well, why don't you as a mother do something about it, in my head? And so I set out on a journey in 2012 and started a nonprofit called Nason's Place that will help children and families like my son to be able to find access to programs, services. And truth be told, I was just looking for a mental break, right? I needed respite. I needed someone to take him for a little bit or to help me better understand what I was dealing with, because it was very challenging. But after I started doing a lot of research, I was able to find programs and services. They just didn't exist in urban cities of Essex County. And Nason's Place was born. When Russell Berrie created this award, he thought about the sacrifices of people like Nadine and the Nadines and the countless other people out there who are doing the work, who made sacrifices. As you mentioned earlier, I worked in the banking career for 25 years. That was my career. I gave that up because I wanted to go into the nonprofit and do work within my community, and I wanted to serve. And so we all make these sacrifices. And so often we as the individuals don't get that recognition. And what the Russ Berrie Award did is it recognized the sacrifices, and it thanked us for the sacrifices that we had done.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
But how did the Making a Difference Award begin? It started with the vision of the late Russ Berrie. He built one of the world's largest toy and gift companies out of a New Jersey garage. He had a philanthropist's heart, and he wanted to give back. So in 1997, Russ decided to contribute in a very unique way by starting the Making a Difference Award.
He wanted to inspire people with amazing human beings whose stories haven't been told, who were unknown in their communities, and who have stories that will inspire others to follow by example.
Before we became a formalized foundation, we used to meet once a month at his dining room table at his house. And we had bagels and lox and everything all set up, and which is a tradition we still have at the foundation. And I remember him feeling like, this is great what we're doing here in this living room and what we're giving to other people and to other organizations. But wouldn't it be great to really create something that recognizes other people for what they're doing to change their community, that will raise attention, to raise awareness of people who are doing great things and inspire other people to do acts of kindness, other people to do sudden acts of bravery, other people to inspire devoting their whole life to serving their community.
One of Russ Berrie's goals for the Making a Difference Award was to shine a light on unsung heroes who were stepping out boldly and tackling challenges. By amplifying honorees, people in New Jersey and beyond have become aware of a broad range of issues, as well as hundreds of organizations that are making a difference. They've been inspired to get involved and spark change in their own communities.
Despite the fact that We at Unchained have such a big mission, we're tackling these human rights abuses nationwide. We're actually a really tiny organization. There are 10 of us now. Back in 2019, there were only a few of us, very limited budget. And we have such important work to do, but such a tiny team, limited resources. So winning the Russ Berrie Award was huge for us. It was transformational, the idea of getting, first of all, that kind of validation that our work was important and necessary, but also getting that sort of financial resources. That was a big deal for us. And also the awareness raising. Suddenly we're on people's radar because we won this award. Thanks in large part to the Russ Berrie Award and to our continued hard work and other allies that we have recruited along the way. To date, we have been able to help ban child marriage in 16 U.S. states, 1/3 of the U.S., and we'd like to say only 34 states to go. And by the way, I should also add, we have also helped to ban child marriage in 2 U.S. territories and in District of Columbia.
People are recognizing that our community is a community that needs help, and that our story is a story that needs to be told. And so it was very important for the Southport Environmental Alliance for individuals to recognize that there are communities, what we call frontline communities, that each and every day suffer from environmental degradation just because of the zip code we live in and the color of our skin. And by receiving the Russ Berrie Award, individuals have been reaching out and they've been saying, oh my God, I didn't even know that that was a problem in your community. We thought it was only over here or over there. And we said, no, it's everywhere within our Southport community. And so our story has been elevated. Our members have been rejuvenated, and they really feel that their voices have been heard and that we can change the situation that we suffer from now because we have other individuals willing to engage and help us change around our community.
From We Can to We Can was created because of my best friend that has spinal muscular atrophy. We've been best friends for almost 20 years, and I started writing books that feature real kids with disabilities as superheroes. We also host inclusive events on top of gifting free medical equipment to children who have been denied insurance. And so the name comes from showing that people believe that people with disabilities can't, and we are showing them that they can.
And Trinity, you've told our producers that there's a lack of disability representation. What does that mean, and why is it so important?
If you look at mainstream media, like if you think of like Disney and things like that, there's not a main character with a disability. You now see side characters. You might see somebody in a wheelchair, but it's still very minor roles. So there is a lack of representation of disabled characters in the entertainment industry. And so we try to combat that representation statistic with creating our children's books.
For many honorees, the recognition did not just provide a cash award, it gave them visibility, credibility, and a connection. Dana Spett of Pony Power Therapies and Chip Palix of America's Grow-A-Row were both recognized early in their organization's conception. Today, their organizations reach thousands of people each year. Their stories show how recognition at the right time can help a good organization grow.
I feel the word that comes to mind is, being able to leverage that award. And I think that's always been the intention of the Berrie family. So, not squandering that opportunity and really leaning in. So obviously the networking between in and among the other awardees or the fellow nominees, being able to pay it forward by nominating others in the community, being able to mentor and speak with others, and just having that accolade, again, just leverages other connections in the community that A, we're doing something interesting here, B, an organization as prestigious as the Russ Berrie Foundation acknowledged that the work that we're doing, and then making sure that we are not just sitting on this, and we see this opportunity and really allowing it to grow. So, in hindsight, in 19 years, the ability to grow and to connect with other awardees and lean into their expertise or their connections or build relationships.
Describe that first time you were there, not just getting the award, but being around other really terrific people making a powerful difference.
First time is no different than any other time, Steve. And as you know, I've gone virtually every year when my schedule allowed. And really because it was the networking opportunity. Sure, the 50,000, being the grand prize winner, getting 50,000 was huge in its own right. But really it was the relationships that came out of it, whether it was with Angelica and folks from her board, Josh Weston, and introducing me to so many people, you being one of them. And then the opportunity from a PR standpoint. Getting the word out and really vetting us as an organization when we were in that fledgling stage. So it was way more than just, a pat on the back, hey, great job, for what we're doing and the funds. It was really the ripple effect that came from it far and, wide, just again, from that one event in 2010.
As the Making a Difference Award entered its 30th and final year, the foundation wanted to do more than look back. So it asked how the spirit of the award could continue through the honorees, through younger leaders, and through the ripple effects of service.
Long after the award is finished, it was never meant to be the award itself as the culmination of the values we wanted to preserve. It's the spirit of generosity in New Jersey that we want to transmit. And that spirit, I think, is carried by people. And having past honorees pass on the torch is, I think, the most exciting part of the journey. So this is not the end.
The Grow the Ripple of Positive Change Award recognized something special. Making a difference rarely ends with one person. Acts of generosity, courage, and service often shape others, inspiring them to lead, give, and to act in their own way. Eric Fuchs Stengel and Violet Reed of the Mahwah Environmental Volunteers Organization embody that ripple.
And meeting Violet back when she started with Mevo, what year was it, Violet? 2017. In 2017, I knew that she was different, and I've seen her blossom and grow into such an amazingly impactful youth leader. Yeah, without her, Mevo wouldn't be what it is today. I often call her the second founder of Mevo because she took it off of my shoulders and really grew it into an impactful organization that I couldn't have even envisioned. So yeah, so the nomination was heartfelt. I meant it, and I am so thankful and thrilled that she was acknowledged because all the good that she does for people that nobody knows. But now, hopefully, after this award, they will.
The final Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards celebrated Gen Z changemakers. This incredible group of young leaders, nominated through a statewide campaign, represents the future. They carry the spirit of the Making a Difference Award with them every day.
We often talk about the next generation as if leadership comes later after more experience, more credentials, more time. But all of you are showing us something different. Leadership isn't about age, it's about agency.
The biggest lesson I learned is that anyone can make change. You don't have to be an adult to make change. Whether me as, a senior in high school, from the little brownies at, 10 years old, you can make change however old you are, and you can see that impact and have your vision come to life no matter what the project is.
We need more change makers in order to make things right. It can't only be solely dependent on one person. The future generation is the next generation of change makers. That's what I always tell everyone. All the kids, students that I talk to, this generation is the next generation of change makers.
We had students in California say how they've been leading local cleanups and it's helped them realize how much litter is really in the environment, and it's helped raise awareness in their community about these issues. And students around the States and even in Belgium talking about reduced requests and how they're doing a simple change that is having so much impact. And it's really led students to feel where they were initially behind the scenes. They were either volunteering or they were just partaking in these activities. Now through C, they're leading them and they're at the forefront and they're seeing all of the impact that they could have.
I remember sitting at lunch and you'd see all these groups of kids sitting together just not eating at lunch. And we figured if there's not something, then why not try and make something? And we did not see it getting this big. Everyone always says oh, you're so young, it's so amazing that you've done this. And to me, it's like, I just don't even register at that. Like, this just feels like my purpose.
So there you have it. Just some of the people, just some of the leaders. As Idana Goldberg said earlier, we're talking about Russ Berrie, unsung heroes, people who do not seek attention, but we wanted to show you who they are and just a little bit about the difference they're making. Let me ask you this. At 30 years of, again, on my end, since 1997, Russ and Angelica asked, and it's been such an honor for me to moderate and to host and MC those events, but to meet these people. But for me, I tell you every year when we do this, I think I've seen it all. And it's just so inspiring for me to see and experience some of these people. For you, what has it been like?
We always say that this is the best day of the year for the foundation. Our staff, our board members come to be part of the celebration, and we always cry. It's just so inspiring to see so many people, and it's truly impossible to summarize the diversity of the honorees because they come from all over and they're doing so many different things. And it's truly inspirational and motivating to know that people care and people do make a difference.
It has been an honor not just to host that event and meet those people, but frankly, to collaborate, to have been able for 3 decades to collaborate with the Russell Berrie Foundation to recognize, to honor, and to feature people making a difference. For some of us in media, we never get the opportunity to, people say, tell a good story. It's not a good story. It's a powerful story. It's an impactful story. And because of the foundation, we've been able to do that. So thank you, Idana. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Steve, for your partnership over the last 30 years.
My pleasure. People making a difference every day. Could you imagine? The world's a better place because of it. We'll see you next time.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by PSEG Foundation, Hackensack Meridian Health, Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Johnson & Johnson, NJM Insurance Group, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Education Association, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and by Valley Bank. Promotional support provided by NJ.com and by ROINJ. To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
The North Ward Center continues to expand their services and outreach in Newark from the childhood years to the golden years, offering programs like preschool, youth leadership development, Casa Israel Adult Medical Day Program, our Family Success Center, as well as a gymnasium. And most recently, Hope House, a permanent home for adults with autism, supporting and nurturing our autism community, with Hope House 2 coming soon. The North Ward Center, we're here when you need us.